The notification pinged on my phone at exactly 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday that started like any other. I was elbow deep in server maintenance at Midwest Logistics, trying to explain to my boss Jerry why our network kept crashing every time someone in accounting tried to open a spreadsheet larger than a grocery list. Extending the girls' trip another week. Don't miss me too much, babe. I stared at Tara's text message like it was written in ancient hieroglyphics. The girls' trip. Right. The one to Miami that she'd been planning with her HR girlfriends for months. The one that was supposed to end yesterday. My name's Will Harris, and I'm 35 years old, with the kind of face that screams, "Eat guy who fixes your printer and makes awkward small talk about the weather." I've been engaged to Tara Becker for 8 months now, and if I'm being honest, those 8 months have felt like 8 years of watching a romantic comedy where I'm the bumbling sidekick who never gets the girl. But I had gotten the girl, hadn't I? Tara was beautiful in that polished HR manager way, always perfectly dressed, always knowing exactly what to say in social situations, always making me feel like I'd won some kind of lottery I never bought a ticket for. I typed back, "How's the weather down there?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, hot and steamy. Something cold settled in my stomach. Maybe it was the way she'd been distant lately, or how she'd started going to the gym at weird hours, or how she'd changed her phone password last month and claimed she forgot the new one when I asked. Or maybe it was because I'd called her hotel yesterday to surprise her with flowers, and the front desk told me no Tara Becker was registered. I walked to the break room where my best friend Pete was microwaving what looked like leftover pizza from the Paleozoic era. Pete's an electrician with the union, built like a linebacker who discovered beer, and loyal as a golden retriever with abandonment issues. "You look like someone just told you Santa Claus got arrested for tax evasion," Pete said, pulling his prehistoric pizza from the microwave. "Tara's extending her girls' trip." "And?" "Pete, what if I told you I called her hotel yesterday and they said she wasn't registered?" Pete stopped chewing. "I'd say that's either a really big coincidence or a really big problem." I showed him the text. Pete read it twice, then looked at me with the expression of a man who'd just watched his friend get hit by a bus in slow motion. "Will, buddy, when's the last time Tara sent you a message with that many emojis?" He was right. Tara usually texted like she was writing a corporate memo. Efficient, professional, emotionally vacant. I need to make some calls. Back at my desk, I started with the obvious suspects. Jill Martinez from HR, Tara's work bestie and partner in gossip crimes. The phone rang 4 times before she picked up. "Will, how are you? Missing Tara?" "Yeah, about that." "How's Miami treating you guys?" Silence. The kind of silence that speaks louder than a fire alarm in a library. "Miami?" "The girls' trip. Tara said you guys decided to extend it another week." "Will, I'm at work. I've been at work all week. I never went to Miami." The cold feeling in my stomach turned into a full-blown Arctic expedition. "What about Sarah and Michelle?" "Sarah's been covering my shifts, and Michelle's been home with her sick kid all week. Will, what girls' trip?" I hung up and immediately called Sarah. "Same story." Then Michelle. Same story. There was no girls' trip. There had never been a girls' trip. I sat back in my chair, staring at my computer screen where lines of code blurred together, like my entire relationship was doing right now. 3 years together, 8 months engaged, and apparently, I'd been dating a stranger. My phone buzzed with another text from Tara. "Miss you so much. Can't wait to tell you all about our adventures." I typed back, "I won't." "Won't what?" "Miss you." This time, the 3 dots appeared and disappeared for a full 5 minutes before she responded. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I know there's no girls' trip, Tara. I called everyone." No response. The read receipt showed she'd seen it, but the typing indicator never appeared again. I spent the rest of the afternoon in a haze, going through the motions of fixing network issues while my brain tried to process the fact that my fiancé was somewhere, with someone, lying to my face via text message. When I got home to our little house on Maple Street, the one we'd bought together 6 months ago, the one with her name on the mortgage too, I did what any self-respecting IT professional would do. I hacked her cloud backup. Now before you judge me, let me explain something about being engaged to someone. You share everything. Passwords, bank accounts, streaming services, and yes, cloud storage. Tara had given me her Apple ID password a year ago when she needed me to fix her iPad. She'd just never changed it. What I found in her photo stream made me wish I'd stayed ignorant. Pictures of Tara at a beach resort, but not with girlfriends. Pictures of Tara with a man I recognized from her work Christmas party. Brad Fenton, pharmaceutical sales rep, owner of a Range Rover, and a smile that belonged on a toothpaste commercial. Pictures of them holding hands, kissing, and several that I won't describe because this is a family-friendly revenge story. But let's just say they were very, very close. The timestamps went back 4 months. 4 months of lies. 4 months of working late and gym sessions and girls' nights that were actually Brad sessions. I scrolled through her text messages, backed up automatically to the cloud. The pet names made me want to throw my laptop across the room. Big Pharma. My sales stud. And worse things that I'll spare you from. But it was the message thread from 2 weeks ago that really twisted the knife. Tara. Will's so clueless. He actually believed the Miami story. Brad. When are you going to dump the IT nerd? Tara. After we get back. I need to figure out the house situation first. Maybe I can get him to sign it over in the breakup. Brad. Poor guy has no idea he's dating a woman way out of his league. Tara. He's sweet. But God, the sex is like watching paint dry. You've ruined me for boring men. I closed the laptop and sat in the dark living room for about an hour, processing the fact that the woman I'd planned to marry thought I was a clueless, boring, sexually inadequate stepping stone to a house and a pharmaceutical sales rep with commitment issues. My phone rang. Pete. How'd the detective work go? She's cheating on me with Brad Fenton from her work. Has been for 4 months. They're at some resort together, and she's planning to dump me when she gets back. Jesus, Will, I'm sorry, man. What are you going to do? I looked around the living room at all our shared stuff. The couch we'd picked out together, the engagement photos on the mantel, the wedding planning magazines still scattered on the coffee table. I'm going to make sure she regrets underestimating the IT nerd. Need backup? Pete, how do you feel about a little creative problem solving? Brother, I thought you'd never ask. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Not technically a lie, I was sick to my stomach about my entire life being a fraud. I spent the morning diving deeper into Tara's digital footprint, and what I found painted a picture of betrayal so detailed it could have been a museum exhibit. Text messages revealed that Brad was married, something Tara knew and found exciting. His wife, Jennifer, was apparently frigid and doesn't understand him. Classic cheater playbook, page 1. But the real gold mine was Tara's messages with her work friend, Jill. Turns out Jill had been covering for Tara's affair from the beginning, providing alibis and helping coordinate their secret meetings. The same Jill who'd acted shocked on the phone yesterday. My doorbell rang around noon. Through the peephole, I saw my sister Emily holding a bag of Chinese food and wearing the expression of someone who'd heard bad news through the family grapevine. Emily's 29, works as a paralegal downtown, and has the kind of sharp wit that could cut glass. She's also fiercely protective of her big brother, especially when said big brother is being played for a fool by his fiancée. Pete called me, she said, pushing past me into the house. He said you discovered Tara's been playing house with some pharmaceutical Romeo, Brad Fenton, and it's worse than that. I showed Emily everything, the photos, the texts, the timeline of lies. She read through it all with the methodical precision of someone who spends her days reviewing legal documents for inconsistencies. Will, this is comprehensive betrayal. She's not just cheating, she's planning to financially screw you in the breakup. I know. So what's the plan? Please tell me you're not going to do something stupid like confront them at their love nest. Actually, I was thinking something much more creative. Emily raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. Tara's coming back tomorrow. She'll probably want to have the talk about our relationship. But here's the thing. She doesn't know that I know. She thinks she's still in control of the narrative. And? What if we let her keep thinking that, while we systematically destroy her ability to control anything? Emily smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Now you're talking my language. What do you need? Legal advice. If I were to hypothetically expose someone's affair in a very public way, what kind of legal trouble could I get into? Depends on how you do it. You can't break any laws, obviously. But if you happen to share information that's already public, or if someone happens to accidentally reveal their own secrets in a public place, well, that's just life happening. And if someone were to, say, experience some inconvenient but legal consequences for their actions, as long as you're not breaking and entering, stealing, physically harming anyone, or committing fraud, you're probably in the clear. Public embarrassment isn't illegal, Will. It's just effective. We spent the next 2 hours planning. Emily's legal mind combined with my technical skills and Pete's blue-collar creativity was going to be a formidable combination. The first phase was information gathering. I needed to know Brad's routine, his hangouts, his vulnerabilities. Lucky for me, people who cheat tend to be creatures of habit, and Brad was apparently no exception. His social media showed he was a regular at Flex Fitness downtown, always posting gym selfies with inspirational quotes about grinding and crushing goals. He drove the Range Rover to work every day, parked in the same spot. He lived in a trendy loft apartment in the Arts District. Most importantly, he was exactly the kind of guy who would fall apart under public scrutiny. That evening, Pete came over with reinforcements. His cousin Danny, who worked in restaurant management, and his neighbor Rick, who ran a small printing business. Emily had recruited her co-worker Lisa, who had connections at the local news blog that covered social drama and minor scandals. All right, I said, spreading out our battle plan on the dining room table. Tara gets back tomorrow afternoon. She'll probably want to meet somewhere public to break up with me, thinking she's in control. But what if we turn her controlled environment into our playground? What are you thinking? Pete asked. She always picks Romano's for important conversations, says it's our place. It's also where she told me she loved me, where we celebrated my promotion, where she said yes to my proposal. Emily nodded. Poetic justice. I like it. Danny, you know people in restaurant management. Is there any way to get access to a restaurant's sound system? Danny grinned. Brother, I've been waiting my whole life for someone to ask me that question. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Tara would choose the location, thinking she had home field advantage. But we'd be ready. I spent that night preparing the audio files, every incriminating text message, every lie, every cruel comment about me being clueless and boring. I edited them into a clear, chronological narrative that told the complete story of her betrayal. The beauty of it was that it was all her own words, her own voice, in a sense. I wasn't making anything up or exaggerating. I was just making sure her private thoughts became public knowledge. My phone buzzed around midnight. Tara. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I have so much to tell you. I typed back. I'm sure you do. Is everything okay? You seem different. Just tired. See you tomorrow. Love you. I stared at those two words for a long time. 3 days ago, they would have made me smile. Now they just looked like more lies on a screen. I didn't reply. The next morning, I woke up with the kind of clarity that comes after a storm. For 4 months, I'd been living in someone else's story, playing the role of the oblivious boyfriend, while Tara wrote herself as the clever heroine, juggling 2 men. Today, I was taking back the pen. Emily texted me at 9 a.m. Legal documents are ready if you need them. Paralegal perks. Pete texted at 10 a.m. Danny's got the restaurant wired. Rick's got the printing handled. We're locked and loaded. At 11 a.m., my phone rang. Tara. Hi, baby. I'm at the airport. Can't wait to see you. How was your trip? Amazing. The girls and I had such a good time. I have so many stories to tell you. I bet you do. Can we meet for lunch? Romano's? I feel like we need to catch up. Perfect. What time? 1 o'clock? See you there. After I hung up, I sat in my car outside Romano's and watched Danny's crew make their final preparations. To anyone else, it looked like routine maintenance. Sound system check, microphone test, nothing suspicious. At 12:45, I walked into Romano's and took our usual table. The same table where she'd said yes to marrying me 8 months ago. The irony was so thick, you could serve it as soup. Tara walked in at exactly 1 p.m., looking tanned and beautiful, and completely confident that she was about to control another conversation in her carefully managed life. She had no idea that in the next 30 minutes her world was going to explode. Tara looked radiant as she walked toward our table, her skin glowing with what she'd probably claim was Miami sun, but I knew was the afterglow of 4 days with Brad Fenton. She wore a new dress, red, expensive-looking, definitely not something from her pre-affair wardrobe. You look amazing, I said as she sat down, and I meant it. Betrayal apparently agreed with her. Thanks, baby. I missed you so much. She reached across the table to squeeze my hand, and I let her, marveling at how easily the lies rolled off her tongue. Tell me about your trip. Her eyes lit up like she'd been waiting for this question. Oh, Will, it was incredible. The hotel was right on the beach, and the girls and I just relaxed and caught up and drank way too many margaritas. Sounds perfect. Which girls went again? Jill, Sarah, and Michelle. You know how we are when we get together. Total chaos. I nodded sympathetically. I can imagine. Hey, I tried calling the hotel to send you flowers, but they said there was no Tara Becker registered. For just a split second, her smile flickered. Oh, that's weird. Maybe they had it under Jill's name. You know how group bookings work. Right, that makes sense. The waitress came over, Maria, who'd served us dozens of times before. She knew our usual orders, knew we were engaged, always asked about wedding planning with genuine enthusiasm. The usual for you two? Maria asked. Actually, Tara said, I think we need to talk first. Maybe just some drinks for now. Maria nodded and left us alone. Tara took a deep breath, and I recognized the expression on her face. It was the same look she got before delivering bad news to employees at the hospital. Professional sympathy with a steel core. Will, I need to tell you something. I'm listening. This trip, it gave me a lot of time to think. About us, about our relationship, about what I want in life. I leaned back in my chair, playing the role of the clueless boyfriend for just a few more minutes. Okay. I think we need to take a break. A break? I think we rushed into the engagement. I think we need some space to figure out if we're really right for each other. Around us, the lunch crowd was settling in. Romano's was busy, but not packed, filled with the usual mix of business lunches and casual diners. Perfect audience size. Tara, are you breaking up with me? She reached for my hand again, her voice soft with fake compassion. I just think we want different things. You're comfortable with routine, with staying in, with predictability. And I'm realizing I need more excitement in my life. More excitement. I need passion, Will. I need someone who challenges me, who makes me feel alive. I checked my watch. 1:15 p.m. Danny would be ready. Someone like Brad Fenton? The color drained from her face so fast, I thought she might faint. What? I said, someone like Brad Fenton. You know, your pharmaceutical sales rep boyfriend who you've been sleeping with for 4 months while planning our wedding? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again like a fish gasping for air. Will, I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because I have some text messages that might refresh your memory. I pulled out my phone and opened the first screenshot. Her own words, sent to Brad 3 weeks ago. Will's so sweet, but God, he's boring in bed. You've completely ruined me for vanilla sex. Her face went white, then red, then white again. How did you went through my phone? Your cloud backup, actually. Amazing what people forget they're sharing automatically. The conversations around us continued normally, but I could see Tara calculating, trying to figure out how much I knew and how much damage control she needed to do. Will, let me explain. Oh, please do. Explain how you've been lying to me for 4 months. Explain how you and Jill have been coordinating your alibis. Explain how you're planning to try to get the house in our breakup. Explain how you think I'm too stupid to figure out that there was never a girls' trip to Miami. She looked around the restaurant nervously, probably hoping no one was paying attention to our conversation. Can we please keep our voices down? Why? Embarrassed? That's interesting because according to your texts, you find your double life exciting and liberating. I gestured to Danny, who was pretending to check the sound system near the bar. He gave me a subtle nod. You want to know what I think, Tara? I think you're right. We do want different things. You want to lie and cheat and manipulate people, and I want to make sure everyone knows exactly who you really are. The sound system crackled to life, and suddenly Tara's voice filled the restaurant, crystal clear through the speakers. Will's so clueless, he actually believed the Miami story. Conversations stopped, heads turned. Tara's eyes went wide with horror as her own voice continued. He's sweet, but God, the sex is like watching paint dry. You've ruined me for boring men. Will, turn it off, she whispered urgently, but Brad's voice was already responding through the speakers. When are you going to dump the IT nerd? And then Tara again. After we get back. I need to figure out the house situation first. Maybe I can get him to sign it over in the breakup. The entire restaurant was listening now. Maria stood frozen by the kitchen door. A businessman at the next table had his phone out, clearly recording. The elderly couple by the window looked scandalized and fascinated in equal measure. Poor guy has no idea he's dating a woman way out of his league, Brad's voice continued. Tara was trying to sink into her chair, her face buried in her hands. Please, Will, please stop this. But the audio kept playing. 4 months of lies condensed into a greatest hits album of betrayal. Her cruel comments about my appearance, my personality, my performance in bed. Her detailed descriptions of her sexual encounters with Brad. Her plans to manipulate me in the breakup. When it finally ended, the restaurant was dead silent except for the soft jazz music that had resumed playing. I leaned forward and spoke quietly, but in the silence, everyone could hear me clearly. You're right, Tara. You do need more excitement in your life. So here's some excitement for you. Everyone you work with is going to hear about this. Everyone in your social circle is going to know what kind of person you really are. And that house you were planning to steal from me? Good luck with that. I stood up and dropped a 20 on the table. Lunch is on me. Consider it a breakup gift. As I walked toward the door, I could hear the whispers starting behind me. Phones were already coming out, social media posts were being composed, and Tara's carefully constructed image was crumbling in real time. I paused at the door and turned back. Tara was still sitting at our table, surrounded by staring strangers, tears streaming down her face. Oh, and Tara? Next time you want to extend a fake girls' trip, you might want to actually coordinate with the girls first. The last thing I saw before leaving Romano's was Maria approaching Tara's table, probably to ask if she needed anything. But what Tara needed, her reputation, her dignity, her carefully managed double life, couldn't be served on a plate. Outside, Pete was waiting by my car with a grin that could power a small city. How'd it go? Phase 1 complete. Ready for Phase 2? Brother, I've been ready since you told me what she did to you. As we drove away from Romano's, I could see through the window that Tara was still sitting at our table, her head in her hands, while curious diners continued to stare and whisper. The best part? This was just the beginning. By the time I got home, the video was already online. 3 different people had recorded Tara's public humiliation at Romano's, and the most complete version was racking up views on TikTok faster than I could refresh the page. Someone had captioned it. When you find out your fiancé's girls' trip was actually a cheating trip. The comments were brutal. Not the restaurant speakers exposing her whole affair. The way she tried to hide under the table, I'm dead. This man said, "Let me put your business on blast, literally." She really thought she was slick, Emily called while I was scrolling through the comments. Will, you're trending on local Twitter. Your restaurant revenge is picking up steam. Already? The video's been shared 800 times in the last hour. Someone identified Tara from her hospital badge in one of the photos. Her co-workers are starting to comment. I felt a twinge of something, not quite guilt, but awareness of how quickly modern public shaming could spiral. Then I remembered 4 months of lies, and the feeling passed. What about Brad? That's the beautiful part. Someone tagged his pharmaceutical company in the video. Apparently cheating on your wife while on a work trip violates their ethics policy. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Jennifer Fenton, Brad's wife. Can we meet? I think we need to talk. I stared at the message for a long moment. Brad's wife wanted to meet. The wife who, according to Tara's texts, was frigid and doesn't understand him. I texted back, "Coffee tomorrow? 10 a.m. at Brewster's on 5th Street? Perfect, thank you." That evening, Tara tried calling me 17 times. I let every call go to voicemail, then listened to her messages with Pete and Emily, rating them on a scale of desperation. Message 1. Will, we need to talk. What you did today was completely out of line. Starting strong with blame deflection, Emily noted. Classic narcissist move. Message 5. I know you're angry, but airing our private business in public was cruel and unnecessary. Our private business? Pete laughed. Lady, you made it public when you started screwing around. Message 12. Please call me back. We can work through this. I made mistakes, but we can fix this. Now we're getting to the bargaining phase, I said. Message 17 was just sobbing. And there's the breakdown, Emily said. Right on schedule. Around 9 p.m., my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I could see Tara standing on my porch, still in the red dress from lunch, her makeup smeared and her hair disheveled. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Will, please, we need to talk. I think you said everything you needed to say. In fact, the whole restaurant heard what you had to say. I was confused. I was going through something. It didn't mean anything. 4 months didn't mean anything? I love you, Will. I want to work this out. I looked at her standing there, trying to summon the feelings I'd had for this woman just 24 hours ago. But all I could see was someone who'd lied to my face while planning to steal my house and humiliate me in a breakup. Tara, do you know what the worst part is? What? It's not that you cheated. It's not even that you lied. It's that you thought I was too stupid to figure it out. You actually believed I was that pathetic. I never thought you were pathetic. I pulled out my phone and read from her text messages. Will's like a golden retriever, sweet, loyal, and completely clueless, I could probably tell him I'm pregnant with Brad's baby, and he'd offer to help pick out nursery colors. She winced like I'd slapped her. You want to work this out? Here's how we work this out. You move your stuff out of my house by this weekend. You take your name off the mortgage, and you leave me alone. Will, please. Good night, Tara. I closed the door and listened to her cry on my porch for about 10 minutes before she finally left. The next morning, I met Jennifer Fenton at Brewster's Coffee. I'd expected someone bitter and angry, maybe looking for an ally in shared victimhood. Instead, I found a composed, intelligent woman in her early 30s who looked like she'd been planning this conversation for a long time. "Thank you for meeting me," she said as I sat down across from her. "I wasn't sure if you'd want to talk to me or punch me in the face." She smiled, and it was sharp as a blade. "Oh, I want to thank you. What you did yesterday was the best thing that could have happened to my marriage. I'm not following." "Will, I've known about Brad's affairs for 2 years. Plural. Your fiancée wasn't his first, and she wouldn't have been his last." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "Tara wasn't special?" "Tara was convenient. Brad has a type. Women who work in healthcare, women who are impressed by his sales job and his car and his gym routine. He's had 3 affairs that I know of." "Why didn't you leave him?" Jennifer's smile got sharper. "Because I was waiting for the right moment. See, I'm a forensic accountant, Will. I've been documenting Brad's affairs, his hidden assets, his tax evasion, his expense account fraud. I've been building a case that will destroy him financially." "And yesterday's video?" "Yesterday's video gave me the public documentation I needed to prove adultery in our divorce. No-fault divorce is one thing, but adultery with evidence? That's a whole different settlement." I stared at her, realizing I was looking at someone who made my restaurant revenge look like amateur hour. "Jennifer, are you saying you've been planning this for 2 years?" "I've been planning this since the first affair. Brad thinks he's so clever, but he's actually incredibly predictable. He uses the same hotel, the same credit card, the same lies. He even gave Tara the same jewelry he gave the woman before her." She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo of Tara wearing a distinctive necklace I'd seen in their resort photos. "He bought 3 of these, 1 for each affair." Jesus. The best part? Brad has no idea what's coming. He thinks he's going to sweet-talk his way out of this, maybe promise to go to counseling, maybe blame it on work stress. But I've already filed the papers. He's going to be served at work this afternoon. In front of his coworkers? In front of his biggest client. He's giving a presentation to a hospital board at 2 p.m. The process server will be waiting when he comes out. I found myself genuinely impressed. "You're terrifying." "I'm thorough. And Will? I have a proposition for you." "I'm listening." "I know you're planning more revenge against Tara. Pete's cousin Danny is married to my sister. Small world, I want to help." "Why?" "Because Tara knew Brad was married. She knew about me, knew about our kids, and she didn't care. She actively participated in destroying my family, so I think she deserves everything that's coming to her." Jennifer slid a manila folder across the table. "Brad's been very chatty about his affair. He recorded some of their encounters for his own entertainment. I found the files on his laptop." I opened the folder and immediately closed it. "I can't use this." "You don't have to. But Tara's hospital has a very strict morality clause in their employee handbook. If someone were to anonymously report that an HR manager was having an affair with a married vendor, and if there happened to be evidence, she'd be fired. She'd be fired, blacklisted, and unemployable in healthcare administration in this city." I looked at Jennifer Fenton, forensic accountant and master of long-term revenge, and realized I was outclassed. "What do you need from me?" "Just keep doing what you're doing. The more public Tara's humiliation becomes, the stronger my divorce case gets. Brad chose the wrong IT guy to underestimate." As I walked back to my car, my phone buzzed with a text from Pete. "Dude, turn on Channel 7. They're running a story about workplace affairs and they used your restaurant video as an example." I sat in my car and watched my revenge go statewide on the local news, with a reporter discussing the dangers of social media and public shaming in the digital age. But the best part was the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Local pharmaceutical rep placed on administrative leave following viral infidelity video. Phase 2 was complete. Time for Phase 3. 3 days after the restaurant incident, Tara's life had completely imploded. She'd been suspended from the hospital pending investigation. Brad had been fired and served with divorce papers, and their affair was local internet legend. But I wasn't done yet. See, there was still the matter of our shared house, our joint bank account, and the engagement ring that cost me 3 months' salary. Tara seemed to think that because she was sorry now, because she was crying and desperate, I should just let her walk away with half of everything. She was wrong. Emily had been working on the legal aspects while I handled the technical side. Turns out, when someone lies about their whereabouts to commit adultery, it can affect asset division in a breakup, especially when there's documented evidence of plans to defraud your partner. Friday evening, Tara showed up at the house with her mother, Mrs. Becker, who'd always treated me like I was barely good enough to date her precious daughter. They were there to collect Tara's things, and Mrs. Becker was clearly ready for a fight. "William," Mrs. Becker said, using my full name like I was being scolded in elementary school, "what you did to my daughter was absolutely cruel. What I did was tell the truth. You humiliated her in public. You've ruined her reputation." I looked at Tara, who was standing behind her mother like a child hiding behind a parent at a playground. "I didn't ruin her reputation, Mrs. Becker. She did that herself when she decided to cheat on me for 4 months while planning our wedding. Everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated plan. She was going to dump me, steal my house, and run off with a married man. The only mistake she made was underestimating me." Tara finally spoke up. "Will, I know I hurt you. I know I made terrible choices, but can't we handle this privately, like adults?" "You mean like how you handled your affair privately? Oh wait, that's right. You bragged about it to all your friends and co-workers." Emily emerged from the kitchen, carrying a folder full of legal documents. Mrs. Becker looked at her suspiciously. "Who are you?" "I'm Will's sister, and I'm also a paralegal. I'm here to make sure everything is handled properly." "We don't need lawyers for a simple breakup," Mrs. Becker said. Emily smiled sweetly. "Actually, when there's joint property and documented fraud involved, we absolutely do need legal representation." "Fraud?" Tara's voice cracked. "Planning to manipulate someone into signing over property under false pretenses? That's attempted fraud, Tara. We have your text messages discussing it." I watched the color drain from Tara's face as she realized that her private conversations were now legal evidence. "I want my engagement ring back," I said. "What?" "The ring. The one I gave you under the assumption that you were faithful and honest. Since that was based on false pretenses, I want it back." Mrs. Becker puffed up like an angry hen. "She doesn't have to give you anything." Emily consulted her folder. "Actually, in Ohio, an engagement ring is considered a conditional gift. If the engagement ends due to the recipient's fault, such as adultery, the ring legally belongs to the giver." Tara slowly pulled the ring off her finger and set it on the coffee table. It looked smaller than I remembered, less significant. "What about my stuff?" Tara asked. "Your clothes, your personal items, your books. That's all yours. But the furniture we bought together, the appliances, the household items, those stay with the house. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Planning to steal someone's house while cheating on them. You know what else isn't fair? Lying about a girl's trip so you can go screw a married man at a resort." Mrs. Becker was turning red. "You don't have to be so crude." "I'm being accurate. Your daughter spent 4 months being crude with Brad Fenton while lying to my face." The front door opened and Pete walked in, followed by Danny and Rick. They weren't there for intimidation. They were there to help Tara move her belongings, making sure nothing accidentally got packed that didn't belong to her. Ladies, Pete said politely, we're here to help with the move. For the next 2 hours, we supervised Tara packing her clothes, toiletries, and personal items. Everything else, the couch we'd picked out together, the dining room set, the kitchen appliances, the TV, stayed with the house. Mrs. Becker kept muttering about how unfair it all was, but Emily's legal documents were ironclad. Tara had no claim to anything except her personal belongings. As they were loading the last box into Mrs. Becker's car, Tara turned to me one final time. Will, I really did love you. I looked at her standing in my driveway, her life in boxes, her future uncertain, her reputation destroyed. No, Tara, you loved the idea of me. You loved having a safe backup plan while you played around. You loved having someone to manipulate and control. But you never loved me. That's not true. If you'd loved me, you wouldn't have spent 4 months lying to my face. If you'd loved me, you wouldn't have planned to steal my house. If you'd loved me, you wouldn't have described our relationship as boring and our sex life as watching paint dry. She started crying again, but this time it felt performative, like she was trying one last manipulation. I'm sorry, Will. I'm so sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. You're sorry your plan didn't work. But you're not sorry for what you did, because if you hadn't been caught, you'd still be doing it. Mrs. Becker got in her car with a final glare in my direction. Tara stood by the passenger door for a moment longer. What happens now? She asked. Now you live with the consequences of your choices. You figure out how to rebuild your life without lying to people who trust you. You learn that actions have consequences, even for people who think they're too smart to get caught. Will I ever see you again? Tara, I hope not. She got in the car and they drove away. I watched their taillights disappear around the corner, taking 4 years of my life with them. Pete clapped me on the shoulder. How do you feel? I thought about it for a moment. Free. Emily locked the front door and handed me the keys. The house is officially yours. Mortgage transfer should be complete by Monday. And Brad? Jennifer texted me an hour ago. He's been served with divorce papers. He's lost his job, and his wife is taking him for everything he's worth. Apparently, she's been building a case against him for 2 years. Jesus. The best part? Tara has no idea that Brad is about to be financially destroyed. She probably thinks she can run back to him now that you've kicked her out. Danny grinned. Plot twist. Her backup plan is broke and unemployed. We went inside and ordered pizza, sitting in my living room that was finally completely mine. No more walking on eggshells, no more wondering if I was being lied to, no more feeling like I wasn't good enough for someone who was cheating on me with a married pharmaceutical rep. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Saw the video. You're my hero. My ex tried the same thing. Good for you for not letting her get away with it. Then another. Dude, that restaurant thing was legendary. And another. Standing up for yourself like that takes guts. Respect. Apparently, my revenge had struck a chord with people who'd been cheated on, lied to, or manipulated by partners who thought they were too smart to get caught. You know what the best part is? I said to Pete and Emily. What? She thought I was too boring and predictable to fight back. She thought I'd just take it and let her walk all over me. Turns out the boring IT guy had some surprises, Emily said. Turns out the boring IT guy had some very creative friends, I corrected. We spent the rest of the evening planning my new life. No more shared decisions, no more compromises with someone who didn't respect me, no more wondering if I was enough for someone who was actively looking for something better. Just me, my house, my real friends, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the underdog wins. 2 weeks later, I ran into Jill at the grocery store. She tried to avoid me, but I caught up with her in the cereal aisle. Will, hi, how are you? I'm great, Jill. How's Tara? Jill looked uncomfortable. She's struggling. She moved back in with her mom. She's having trouble finding work. That's what happens when you get fired for having an affair with a married vendor. She made mistakes, but she made choices, Jill. And so did you when you helped her lie to me for 4 months. Jill looked down at her shopping cart. I'm sorry about that. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught up in the fallout, but you're not sorry for what you did. I grabbed a box of cereal and started to walk away, then turned back. Oh, and Jill? Next time one of your friends asks you to help them cheat on their fiancé, maybe think about whether it's worth destroying your own reputation over. As I walked away, I could hear her calling after me, but I didn't turn around. I had groceries to buy, a life to live, and a future to build that didn't include people who thought loyalty was optional. For the first time in months, I felt like myself again. The end. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching,